Hey guys, what's up? What's happening? You have the King of Games 98 here at your service. How you doing? Hope y'all are doing good and staying safe. And well, for the purpose of this video, I thought it would be really nice and meaningful and just a good gesture all around to make a Akira Toriyama memoriam, video remembering him, paying respects to him. And I am a big Dragon Ball Z fan, as if you couldn't tell by my shirt. Now, if you didn't know or hear the news yet, Akira Toriyama, the creator of the Dragon Ball series, passed away on March 1st of this year at the age of 68 years old. I believe, if I remember correctly, and if this is true, it said that he passed away due to a blood clot in his brain. Really sad. Really, really sad. Now, I ran this idea by a couple of friends, and every single person I ran it by liked the idea. The only thing was I was having a hard time figuring out how I was going to pay respect and tribute to Akira Toriyama's life. And, how would I do that in a video? Would I show my entire Dragon Ball, action figure collection? Would I show my Dragon Ball VHS, DVD, Blu-ray collection? Would I show my entire Dragon Ball video game collection? Or would I do a Let's Play? Or would I review something? Those were the topics of video ideas that were coming through my head, and I was having a hard time deciding and picking just one. Ultimately, I think I'm going with the best choice, though, at least in my opinion, because this will be both gaming related and Dragon Ball related. So I decided to go with the video idea of looking at every single Dragon Ball related video game that I currently own in my video game collection as of 2024. So without further ado, guys, this is going to be a celebration of life, looking at every Dragon Ball video game in my entire collection. So I'm going to first start off with showing you all the console games that I own, and then I'm going to show you the handheld games that I own, because I own more console games than I do handheld games. And I'm going to show you guys the games in the order they were released in. I will show you them. So, we're going to start from 90s up. So this should be fun. I'm looking forward to this, and I'm going to talk about my experience with the game, if I played it, if I remember where I bought it, and even how much I paid for it. And I'm going to mention a lot of people, a lot of friends. So this is going to be good. This is going to be good. Okay, guys, thank you for waiting, and we are back. So, like I said, I am going to start with all the Dragon Ball related video games I own for consoles, and then the handheld games. And the order I'm going to do this in is the year the games were released. Now, before you ask, I do not know exactly specific years, but going off of, 90s, I have an approximate, guess of the year this came out. Well, this one literally says 1993. So, yeah, we're going to start from the 90s all the way up to 2010s. Yeah. Okay, so starting this video off, we have Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden 1. And this is on the Nintendo Super Famicom, or as it was known everywhere else in the world, the Super Nintendo. This is my loose cartridge-only copy of this game. I bought this game years ago at Next Level Video Games. Shout out to Nick, the owner. And I think it was like $10. So I figured, wow, a Japanese import Dragon Ball Z game for $10. What could go wrong? This is a 2D one-on-one fighting game. It's not the worst thing I've ever played, but it's not the best thing I've ever played, especially when it comes to Dragon Ball related video games. So, for what I paid for it, it's okay. I couldn't bring myself to get rid of it, and I decided to keep it in the collection. Now, for those of you who may not know this, there are a total of 3 Super Butoden games, all on the Super Famicom. Now, after doing some research on the Super Butoden games online, I found out the Super Butoden 3 is like the best one. So, maybe if I ever come across it, and the second one, I'll pick them up. I believe there was another Dragon Ball Z game on the Super Famicom that we did not get in North America, but they got in Japan. I think it's called like Dragon Ball Z something Hyper Dimension. I think. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But yeah. So yeah, that's the first game we're kicking it off with. Now, I have showed this to... I know I showed it to Tyler because I bought him like the second or third game years ago for his birthday, I think. And so Tyler knows about the Super Butoden games, and I think I might have showed it to Davide too. I don't know, but yeah, this is okay. It's not great, it's not horrible, it's just okay. Oh boy, okay. Okay, well, we go from an okay mid-game to an absolute dumpster fire. This game is a hot, steaming turd in 32 bits. Yeah. Okay. Well, the next game we will be showing and talking about is Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22, or as I like to call it, Ultimate Piece of Shit. Because that's what this game is, an ultimate piece of shit. Now, if you're familiar with this game, then you're probably saying to yourself right now at this point in the video, oh my god, why do you have that? Why is that in your collection? That's a great question. And you know what? If you were asking that, I don't have a legitimate answer. I really do not. Because this is such a bad fighting game that it's borderline unplayable. That's how bad this game is. It is borderline unplayable. Now, as if you couldn't already believe that I own this in my collection, I own the US version on the left here and the Japanese version on the right. Now, the US version is complete in box. The Japanese version is in its original case. Love the artwork. But it's missing the manual. So it's technically not complete, so I'd call it boxed. That's what I'd call it. So I bought the US version first. I don't know how many years ago I bought this game, nor do I remember what I paid for it. I think it might have came from a local flea market, maybe, if I remember right. However, the Japanese version, I do distinctly remember buying that at one of my local flea markets. This was years ago. I think I maybe paid, well, for this, it was under $10, or maybe it was $10. Yeah, I don't know. I think I paid like $10 or maybe less for this. Used, missing the manual, at my local flea market. And since this is, let me zoom in on the disc there, an NTSCJ region game, meaning Japanese, or well, I'm sorry, not meaning Japanese, meaning Japan, I cannot play this game because you would need a Japanese region PlayStation 1 or a PlayStation 2 or a PlayStation 3 for that matter, and I don't own any Japanese region PlayStation consoles. So I technically can't even play that. And you know what? I'm not upset at all about that, as you can very tell, because, oh my God, I played enough of this to know that this is not any better and it's not any different. It is literally the same exact game as this, maybe different artwork. I think the artwork on the disc is different. Yes, it is different. The artwork on the disc is very different. Personally, I like the Japanese region artwork on the disc better. But yeah, no. As far as I know, it's literally the same exact game, and neither version is good. They're both so bad. Now, I like fighting games. So, most Dragon Ball Z games are fighting games. So, I gravitated towards that, of course. Now, this is a one-on-one 2D fighting game, like I said, but the controls are what kills this game. This game could have been good. It could have been. It had potential. It really did. But the controls are what ruined this game. Just absolutely ruined this game. Yeah, so I'm not ashamed to say that I own this game in my video game collection, and I love how they had to put in the top right corner on the US region's case the Japanese import now in the US. Now, 9 times out of 10, that's usually a good thing. However, with this ultimate piece of turd, it's not. I'm sorry. It's just absolutely not. And I love how the screenshots are in Japanese and they're translated in English with quotation marks. I love that. Yeah, this is just really bad. This is not a valuable game by any stretch of the imagination either. I think this is like a $10 or $12 game at most. And obviously, I would not recommend it because of how freaking bad it controls, which again is a shame because I think it could have been good. I really do. I don't hate on a game for no reason, and this one has a lot. Now, I did actually show this to Davide, and we did actually play that game, and Davide himself remembers it and absolutely despises it too. And you want to know the best part of Ultimate Piece of Shit? The game is called Ultimate Battle 22, so you would think that there's 22 characters in the game. There's not. There's not 22 characters in the game. I don't remember how many characters exactly are playable in the game, but it's not 22. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. Okay. Moving on. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Okay. We're going to do PlayStation 2 era next. Okay. Thank you guys for waiting. Here are all 8 of my PlayStation 2 Dragon Ball related video games. Now, as far as I know, please, if I'm wrong, correct me down below in the comment section. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But as far as I know, there was only 8 Dragon Ball related video games released on the PlayStation 2. Budokai 1, Budokai 2, Budokai 3, Budokai Tenkaichi 1, Budokai Tenkaichi 2, Budokai Tenkaichi 3, Super Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. If I am wrong about that, I don't believe I am, but if I am, please correct me down below in the comment section. Okay, so we are going to start with the Budokai Trilogy first and foremost. Okay, so looking at the original Dragon Ball Z Budokai Trilogy games on the PlayStation 2, and as you can see, all three of my copies are the Red Label Greatest Hits versions of all three. And in case you're wondering, did I plan that? No, I did not plan that. I promise you that. That is just merely the versions I picked up in my travels at flea markets, yard sales, thrift stores. Whenever I came across them, I would just buy them. Okay, so I don't really remember where I bought any of these three games, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. So I don't remember where I bought them. I don't really remember how much I paid for them either. However, I can talk a little bit about 1 and 3. My experiences playing them, that is. Now, Budokai 1 is a fighting game. It's not the greatest fighting game I've ever played, but for the time, it was a big deal. If you might have caught in the when I opened my copy of Ultimate Piece of Shit 22, at the back of the instruction manual, it actually has an advertisement promoting Dragon Ball Z Budokai on PlayStation 2. This game was a very big deal at the time, like early 2000s, because this was the first Dragon Ball Z fighting game on a console from that generation, meaning PlayStation 2, original Xbox, and Sega Dreamcast. Well, I'm sorry. PlayStation 2, original Xbox, Sega Dreamcast, and Nintendo GameCube. This was the first Dragon Ball Z game made for a console from that generation of those four consoles. So this was a very big deal. This was huge. And Budokai was released on PlayStation 2. I think the GameCube. I might be wrong on that. And I think that was it. I don't think it was ported to Xbox, at least not that I know of. So at the time, this game was a very big deal. However, when I sat down and played it, I could not get the hang of it control-wise at all. I just could not, because I didn't grow up with this game, I could not get the hang of the controls at all. So that's Budokai 1. Budokai 2, I have never played this game. Now, my really good friend Mike, who I graduated high school with, is also a very big Dragon Ball Z fan. And he spoke very highly to me of Budokai 2 and Budokai 1. So I vividly remember him telling me about them. And when he told me about them, I was excited. However, Budokai 2 is a weird combination of a fighting game and an RPG game. Now, I'm not saying it's bad by any means. It's just different. And for a Dragon Ball Z game, I really was not expecting that. So I didn't know that before buying the game. And so when I found that out after I bought the game, I kind of didn't play it on purpose just because I don't think I would like it. But I still kept the game, of course, to complete the trilogy. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it one day, but I just can't see myself liking it. So now we move on to Budokai 3. Now, this is very interesting about Budokai 3. Now, as you see, it's a Red Label Greatest Hits version of the game. The artwork on the front of the Red Label Greatest Hits version of the game is different than the original Black Label version of Budokai 3. I did not know this, and when I recorded this game onto my GameEye tracker app on my phone, shout out to GameEye, I love your freaking app so much. It came up with the two different versions of this game, the Black Label version and the Red Label Greatest Hits version, and both versions have different cover art. I don't know why, but they do. Personally, I really like the Greatest Hits, the Red Greatest Hits label's cover art. It's pretty freaking cool. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, if you didn't know that, well, if that's what the Red Label Greatest Hits version's cover art looks like, what does the Black Label version's cover art look like? Well, it's basically Goku in his Super Saiyan form, like flying at you fist first. That's how I would describe it. It's okay, but compared to this one that shows Goku and Vegeta fighting, both in their Super Saiyan forms, I think looks a lot freaking cooler than the Black Label version's cover artwork. I don't know. That's just me personally, but yeah. Now, Budokai 3, I have played this game for a pretty good amount of time, too. I like the fighting mechanic. There, I said it. I'm not ashamed of it. I like the fighting mechanics in Budokai 3. This game is either hit or miss when it comes with Dragon Ball Z fans and, video game collectors in general. Because it is a one-on-one fighting game. However, there's a mechanic built into this fighting game where it has quick time events where you have to choose specific buttons in a specific combination that are shown on screen. Now, I remember Davide saying that he played this game and did not like it because of that, and said it ruined it for him because of that. And you know what? That's fine. It's not for everyone. However, I do like it, and I love the gameplay. The graphics are great. The English and Japanese voiceovers you can choose between, I love that. Like, this was a banger. I really, really like Budokai 3 the most out of the original 3 Budokai games. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the Budokai Tenkaichi trilogy. Okay, and here we go with the Budokai Tenkaichi trilogy on the PlayStation 2. Okay, so starting first and foremost, Budokai Tenkaichi 1, as you can see, there's some water damage or some type of damage to my copy's front cover artwork, which sucks. However, it is special to me, and I refuse to get rid of this copy even though the front cover artwork is damaged. And I'm going to explain to you guys why, because this is significant, because I remember where I bought this game from. So me and my parents love taking day trips up to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We love the Amish. We love going in, small business shops, thrift stores, antique stores. It's just really fun, at least for me and my parents doing that. And we always have, we usually only stay a day up there, but it's like we have a great whole day's fun just going there. Now, on one trip, this was going back probably, I'll say, had to have been over 5 years ago. Had to have been. And we were just driving by, and I noticed in a strip of stores was it California video or was it Hollywood video? I think it was a Hollywood video. Yes, I think that was the name of it. A Hollywood video rental store. And it was still open. It was still in business. So I was like, oh, guys, can we stop there? That's cool. And so we did. And they had video games too, retro video games. I think they might have had some modern, but retro. And I was like, this is amazing. So I vividly remember they had a small Sega Genesis section. And in that Sega Genesis section, they had a pair of official Sega branded wireless Sega Genesis controllers with the receiver. Now, up until that point in time, I had never seen them before, and I think they had $40 or $50 on them, and I really, really, really wish I would have bought them back then, and I'm kicking myself now that I didn't, because that was a really good price for them, and they are very hard to find these days, but that's besides the point. So, I'm digging through the PS2 games, and I come across Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 1, and I went, hey, I don't think I have this one. So I immediately pull out my phone, check on my handy-dandy Game My Tracker app, and I realize I don't. So I said, okay, I'm buying this. And I think it was maybe $10 or $12 maybe. It was not very expensive. Maybe $15 at the most, but I don't even think it was that much. And I bought it. And it came in this condition, some water damage to the front cover artwork, But the manual's nice, the game disc is nice, and the back cover artwork is immaculate. So, yeah, that's where that game came from. And as of now, currently in 2024, that Hollywood Video in Lancaster, PA, has since closed and is no longer there. So now you guys understand why I could never get rid of this copy. This copy is very sentimental to me because of where it came from and how I found it. So that's Budokai Tenkaichi 1, and I have played a little bit of this one. It's good, Has a good combination of Dragon Ball Z and GT characters. Looks like 57 to be exact. So yeah, it's good. Okay, moving to Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2 with my freaking main man, Future Trunks, on the front cover of this game. For those of you who don't know, I don't know if I've ever said this before in a video, because come to think of it, I don't know if I've ever done any Dragon Ball related videos on my channel, but Future Trunks is my favorite character from Dragon Ball Z. He is my absolute favorite character. If I had to choose a second favorite character, it would be Piccolo, but Future Trunks, man, he's a freaking badass. So Budokai Tenkaichi 2, this is not my original copy of this specific game. And my original copy was either loose disc only. Yeah, I think it was either loose disc only, or maybe I had the game disc in case and was missing the manual. So my original copy was not complete in box. I would say 3 years ago, maybe 4, but before I started my current job. So yeah, that would be 3 years ago. Okay, so 3 years ago, before I started my current job, I was unemployed. It was the pandemic. I didn't really feel safe or comfortable working at that time, so I didn't. And instead, I went through and sold off video games from my collection, from all eras and generations. And Facebook Marketplace became my best friend during that time, let me tell you. And I listed a copy of Riven, the sequel to Myst, that famous point-and-click era computer game. This was its sequel, Riven, on the PlayStation 1. And if you know that version, then you know. But if you don't know, Riven on the PlayStation 1 is 5 discs long. 5. Okay? I listed my copy of that game for sale on Marketplace. It was complete in box, in the original case, manual, all 5 discs, and I included a strategy guide for it because I was saying to myself, if I'm selling the game, then why do I need the strategy guide? I'll sell the game with the strategy guide and ask slightly more for it. Only made sense. A guy messaged me on it who lived in is it Marlton? Yeah, I think it was Marlton area in New Jersey, and was very interested in it. Had to have it, and said, I'm moving, so I'm downsizing my games. Here's what I have. Let me know if you're interested in any. And he had this copy of Budokai Tenkaichi 2. So I was like, hey, is that Budokai Tenkaichi 2 complete? And can you send me pictures? He said, yes, it is, and sent me pictures. And I was like, okay, tell you what. Because I don't remember what I valued that Riven and its strategy guide at, and I forget what Budokai Tenkaichi 2 was at, complete in box. However, I think it was very close in value to Riven, even what I listed it at with its strategy guide. So I said, I'll make you a straight up even trade for that Budokai Tenkaichi 2. And I don't think I asked for any cash. I think I just said, straight up Budokai Tenkaichi 2 for Riven. And he was like, deal, done. So I met him at a movie theater with my dad, and we did a straight up trade, and he was super happy. And I was super happy because I went from upgrading my original copy of Budokai Tenkaichi 2 to this copy of Budokai Tenkaichi 2, which is immaculate, complete in box. And then I resold my original copy, and someone was very happy to get that. And I was very happy to keep this. Now, that's how I came to acquire this game. Have I played this game? Yes, I have. And I have a very funny story to share involving this game with me and Davide. I don't know how many years ago this was, but I brought my PS2 Slim over to his house and a couple games. This was one of them. Sonic Heroes was in there too, actually, because me and him both love Sonic. And I think I did Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights too. Such a banger. Anyway, we went to play this game. Keyword was play. I was unaware of this game's reputation of the load times. And I don't know exactly. However, I want to say we waited at least 10 to 15 minutes, if not more, for this game to load the fight. And then it had to load after the fight to get back to the character selection screen. And Davide turned to me and was like, hey, bud, I think there's something wrong with your Budokai Tenkaichi 2 disc. And I thought so too. Come to think of it, I think I might have paid to have the disc resurfaced. I could be wrong, though. I think I did, though. I think I paid $3 or $5 to have the disc resurfaced. And it still suffers from extremely slow load times. It just does. So, the actual gameplay is great. It's great. Like, this improved a lot upon Budokai Tenkaichi 1. But where this game suffers is the load times. The load times to the stage to fight, and from the end of the fight going back to the character selection screen is excruciatingly slow. And it's got them fun little mini games that you can do while waiting. Yeah, well, they're only fun for so long, okay? So that's my experience with Budokai Tenkaichi 2. Now, the big grail, that is Budokai Tenkaichi 3. I found and bought this game complete in box at a community-wide yard sale years ago, like maybe 2016, 2017 era. And I walked up to this house and I'd see some PlayStation 2 games just laying in a row on the guy's driveway. And I see this one. My eyes popped out of their freaking sockets. I asked how much are your games, and he said like $3 or $5 a piece. And I immediately bought this game, after opening it, making sure the disc was in there, the manual was in there, and I had to control myself from that excitement. Like I physically had to stop myself from like screaming like a little girl, okay? Because even at that time, this was a rare and expensive game, and it still is. This game goes from anywhere from like $170 to $180 because it was the last Budokai Tenkaichi game in the series. And that's what makes this game so rare and valuable. Well, on top of that, it also has 150 characters to choose from. That is freaking amazing. From Dragon Ball Z and GT. That is freaking amazing. So that's what I paid for and got this, and how I got this game. Now, have I played it? Yes. I have played it a little bit. This is quintessentially, I would say, the best of the Budokai Tenkaichi trilogy, and I love it, but I'm not very good at it. The couple of times I played this, I don't even know if I played against another person. I think I did the CPU. I got my ass handed to me every time. But nonetheless, I still love this game. So that's the Budokai Tenkaichi trilogy on PS2. The final two Dragon Ball Z games I'm going to talk about on the PlayStation 2 are Super Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. Now, I ain't going to even lie to you guys. Super Dragon Ball Z, I did not know this game existed. I never heard of this game. I came across it, I think, at a local flea market. Don't really remember how much I paid for it, but I bought it. It is complete in box, and it's in very clean, very good condition. And this is a very unique game because if you read right here, it was designed in a fighting engine by, I'm going to probably butcher this, Noritaka Funamizu, the producer of Street Fighter II. So this is essentially a Street Fighter-esque playing game, but Dragon Ball Z. And that is what makes Super Dragon Ball Z very unique. Have I played this game? Yes, a little bit, and it's okay. It's just okay. I wouldn't say it's great. It's not my favorite Dragon Ball Z game. It's just okay. I like what they were trying to do, and they did something different. I respect that. Now, Dragon Ball Z Infinite World, on the other hand, on PS2, this game I bought a couple years ago, at least, from my local flea market, and the dude was just selling his entire childhood games collection in a spot, and he had these at like $2 to $3 a piece. And I got Dragon Ball Z Infinite World complete in box for $2. That is what I paid for that game. Now, I bought this in a stack of other games that I don't exactly remember what they were, but this was the highlight. This was the freaking highlight. And I was like freaking out, and I had, when we were walking away, I had to say to my dad, this is about a $70, $80 game that I just bought for $2. Complete. And I think the disc might have been a little scratched up on this one, so I brought it to next level, and I paid to have the disc resurfaced. And I think now it's like new. It's in like new condition. So this not only plays great, but it's kind of a obscure game to own. And this game, it basically plays like the Budokai and Budokai Tenkaichi games. However, I mean, it's a fighting game, and it has Z and GT characters in it. I guess I would describe to you guys this game is kind of like a best of the best. It's like, okay, they went back and looked at the best Budokai and Budokai Tenkaichi games and saw what made them great, and then they just kind of mixed it all together and made Infinite World. That's how I'm describing Infinite World. Have I played it? Not really, or very little. So I can't really speak of gameplay, but I have seen gameplay online of this game, and that's how I would describe this game. The best of the best of what the Budokai and Budokai Tenkaichi series had to offer, mixed together in one game. That's Infinite World. Okay, so now... Oh, actually, okay. Next one is the same game, is a same game that I already showed, but on a different console. Okay, so this is what I meant by that. A game I already showed that I own, but on a different console. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on the Nintendo Wii. I came across this game 4, maybe 5 years ago at my local flea market. A woman had random Wii games in her vendor spot on a table. This was one of them, and she charged me $2 for this game. And as you can see, this is complete in box, in very good used condition. And, well, while it is Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on the Wii, it's not worth as much as the PlayStation 2 version is of this game. However, this game still circles around the $50 to $60 range, and I got it for $2. Pretty freaking good, if you ask me. And that's really all I'm going to say about it, because, it's Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on the Wii. Why in God's name you would use a Wii Remote and Nunchuck is beyond me. However, you can use a classic controller, and that is probably your best bet for playing this game. You might even be able to use a GameCube controller, even though it doesn't show it. I don't know. So, yeah. Okay. We are now in the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era, and I decided to start with PlayStation 3. So we have Raging Blast 1 on the left, and on the right we have Battle of Z. So I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. I played the hell out of Raging Blast 2. Yes, I started with 2 before 1. And so I know Raging Blast 2 and am more nostalgic for that game personally than I am for Raging Blast 1. Now, does that make this a bad game? No. Not at all. I just have more high school memories playing Raging Blast 2 with my friends than Raging Blast 1. Now, Raging Blast 1, this copy, came from a Goodwill in Lancaster, PA, and I think I paid $4 or $5 for it. And it's complete in box, and in very clean, used condition, might I add. And you know what? It's good. It's good. I will say that because, again, I played more of Raging Blast 2 than Raging Blast 1. So I know that game more than I know this game. And I believe they improved upon things on Raging Blast 2 they improved upon things in Raging Blast 1 and Raging Blast 2. So, yeah. Now, Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. I've never played this game. I don't really know a whole lot about this game either. I think I bought it at a local flea market, and I don't remember how much I paid for it. But you know what? It's basically complete, and I think it was cheap enough that I said, yeah, why not? So I bought it. And that's Raging Blast 1 and Battle of Z on the PlayStation 3. Okay, so now I'm showing you my Xbox 360 games, and they are, of course, Raging Blast 2 and Budokai HD Collection. Now, like I said to you guys, a Raging Blast 2, I am super, super nostalgic for because I played the hell out of that game back in like 2013, 2014 era, I'll say. And I have so many stories I could tell about this game, but I'm only going to stick to one, and that is because it involves how I came to own this game. So, I bought this game back in 2012, 2013, 2014, whenever it came out. I found and bought this game at a local flea market for like $10 or $15. Or maybe it was even $20. But still, this was a brand new game at the time that had just come out not too long ago. And so instead of paying like $40, $50, maybe $60 for this new, I got it used for like, I don't know, $15 or $20 tops. And like I was hype as shit. And I gifted it. I gifted the game to Davide. I did not keep it for myself because he was really hype he was on the hype train, man, for Raging Blast 2. I remember vividly, he would not stop talking about this game. And like, I don't mean that in a bad way, but like, I mean, he would talk to us and show us videos and show us the trailers. He was just really, really looking forward to this game. So I bought it at my local flea market for like $15 or $20. And I surprised him with this game for his birthday that year. Now, I remember I bought this game in the summer, and Davide's birthday is on August. It's like middle or late August, sometime around there. And I surprised him with it. And he was floored. He could not believe that I bought him this game and thought that I paid top dollar for it too. But I really didn't. And so I first experienced this game over his house, playing it with him, because, it was technically his game. I loved this game so much, I went out to GameStop, bought a used copy of it, and kept that copy for myself. However, that copy was not really good because it was in the generic black case, no artwork, no manual, literally just the game disc thrown in one of their generic GameStop quality pre-owned used cases. Yeah, I hate them, if you couldn't tell. And I kept my copy, and he kept his copy for a long time. Well, maybe a year ago, maybe year and a half ago, he decided I'm gonna get rid of some games. And I asked him, "Do you still own that copy of Raging Blast 2?" And he said, "Why, yes, I do." And I said, "Okay, well, this is gonna sound weird, but I wanna buy the game back off of you." And I did, along with his copy of Budokai HD Collection, because I did not own that in my collection up until that point in time. So I bought both of these games off of Davide, and I rebought this copy of Raging Blast 2 that I originally bought for him and gifted to him, and then I bought back from him. Isn't it funny how life works sometimes like that? Like, it's great. It's great. So that's the story of how I came to buy this game for him and then buy it back off of him, along with his copy of Budokai HD Collection. And for the pair of games, I think he charged me, now mind you, this has gone up considerably in value since when I originally bought this for him and when I bought my used copy from GameStop. Since then, I think we came to an agreement of like $60 or maybe $65 for the pair. I don't remember exactly. But I bought both of these games from Davide at the same time. So that's the funny story of Raging Blast 2. As for Budokai 3, I had never played the HD remakes of Budokai 1 or 3. And since he had it, and it's not a rare game, but I would say uncommon, I said, yeah, you know what? I'll take that 2 off of you. And as you can see, it is very clean, complete in box. It has a reversible cover art too, which I dig that. And yeah. So yeah, that's my stories. That's my story for Raging Blast 2 and Budokai HD Collection. On to the next and final console game in my collection. Alright guys, last and certainly not least is Dragon Ball FighterZ. This is the Day 1 edition on PlayStation 4. Now, this game I was incredibly hyped for. I think it came out 2015, 2016. Sounds about right. And Davide was too, speaking of him. So much so that we both pre-ordered copies at the same GameStop store. And I vividly remember me and him both went and picked up our copies at the same time on the same day. And for pre-ordering the game, they gave us like one of those mystery blind figure bag things. And I opened mine, and he said he wanted to leave it sealed. That's fine. And mine was a mini statue of Goku in his Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue form. Pretty cool, you know? And, you know, of course, my copy is still complete, in very good condition. And I played through the single-player story mode of this game and thoroughly enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. This is a great 2D, one-on-one with, you can choose 3 characters. Yeah, this is a great 2D one-on-one fighter. And the original story is fantastic. The only thing I can say about this game is kind of the same thing with Budokai Tenkaichi 3. I love this game, but I suck at it. I am like really not great at this game, but I do really love it. And so that's why I kept it. And it's a shame that I paid full retail $60 price tag for this, and it's now like a $10 game. Oh well. As the game chasers say, that's how game chasing be sometimes. So I have great fond memories, though, of playing this game and picking my copy up along with Davide's the same day. Really cool. Really cool. Okay. Well, Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes all of my Dragon Ball related video games on console. We are now going to go to handheld games. And I don't have as many handheld games as I do console. So this is probably going to go a lot faster than the console games. So without further ado, we are going to start with Game Boy Advance games. Now, I only own 3 Game Boy Advance Dragon Ball related video games. There's more than that. I could definitely tell you that, but I only own these 3. We have Legacy of Goku 1, Legacy of Goku 2, and Dragon Ball GT Transformation. Now, again, bringing up my friend Mike, he spoke so highly of Legacy of Goku 1 and 2 that back in high school, he had very fond memories of playing both of these games. As a kid growing up, he said, on his Game Boy Micro, of all Game Boy models, on his Game Boy Micro. I wish he still had that to this day because that's worth quite a bit of money, but unfortunately, he told me he tragically left it on an airplane on a ride, which really sucks. But yeah, so that was where I first heard about the Legacy of Goku games from him. And so I don't remember where I bought either of these. Might have been at a flea market. It might have been at Next Level. I don't really remember how much I paid for them either. But after hearing from Mike speak so highly about these games, I knew when I came across them I had to pick them up. So I did. Now, Dragon Ball GT Transformation, on the other hand, I do remember where I bought this, and I remember even how much I paid for it. I bought this game, had to have been back in like 2015, 2016, at my local flea market. It was randomly sitting on a vendor's table in their booth. I picked it up, asked him how much. He said $10. I opened the box. The game is in there. The cardboard that holds the game is in there. The manuals are in there. It's in like new condition. I mean, the box is a little beat up, I guess, a bit, you would say, but you can tell it was used and played and loved. But I freaking whipped out that money so fast it made your head spin. And I'm glad I kept it all these years later in my collection, because this is now worth like $110, $115, this game. I paid $10 for it. So, yeah. Now, Atari started the Legacy of Goku series on the Game Boy Advance, obviously with 1 and 2. However, there is a third game, but it's not under the Legacy of Goku name. So you wouldn't know it unless, you were a fan of Dragon Ball Z and or a video game collector. And that game in question is Dragon Ball Z Boo's Fury. I do not own that game currently, but I've heard great things about it. And then we have Dragon Ball GT Transformation. Now, this game is technically in the Legacy of Goku series. Even though it's a GT era game and does not have the same Legacy of Goku name, it plays and still is in the Legacy of Goku series. So, yeah. That's my Game Boy Advance games. Pretty cool stuff. I love that I kept it all these years and still own that in my collection. That's so cool. Next game up is a PSP game. Unfortunately, it's only loose disc only, but I'm still glad I own it nonetheless. And it is Dragon Ball Z Shin Budokai on the PSP. It is, of course, the red label greatest hits version. And this game is a banger! Dude, total hidden gem. This plays phenomenally on the PSP, like one of the Budokai or Budokai Tenkaichi games, but ported directly over to the PSP. It plays and controls and looks that damn good. Now, I don't remember how much I paid for this game. I don't remember where I bought it either. But I do remember I played the hell out of this game in high school. And I remember that I showed Davide this game too, and he was thoroughly impressed by it too. So that's saying something. Yeah, this is a absolute banger. This game did get a sequel, only on the PSP, called Dragon Ball Z Shin Budokai Another Road. That and the first game are kind of hard to find these days, and it's a shame because I would love, love, love to find its sequel. Okay, and last but certainly not least, a 3DS game, and it is Dragon Ball Fusions. Now, the story I have behind this game is also interesting. This game I got from my friend Tyler for free. He did not charge me or ask for any money. And I got this from him like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I want to say. And he just, played it. I think he beat it and, kind of got bored of it. It's clean. It's complete in box. And yeah, I got this game for free, basically. Very nice of him, He didn't have to do that, but, he chose to, and it was really cool of him. So I have another interesting story involving this game. So I went to play this game multiple times, and it would crash on the loading screen and just get stuck and never move off of it. So I actually contemplated about trading it into GameStop and selling it too, because I couldn't physically play it. I was like, well, why am I keeping this game if I can't play it? So I looked online. Apparently, a lot of other people ran into that same problem. And so they needed to update the game's software and install the system software update for the game. And then after that, it freaking ran and it was playable. You were able to play it. So after finding that out, I did that. And wouldn't you know, it worked. And so it plays perfectly now, and I'm able to actually play it. And yeah, this and Fighters Z is probably the newest Dragon Ball related video games I own in my collection. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Wow, this has been super long. I really hope you guys enjoyed this because I did, number one, making this video, and number two, the flood of memories that came back to me looking at these games, talking about these games, how much I played these games was really cool and very nostalgic to talk about. And the other thing I want to mention is this anime, Dragon Ball Z, has brought together so many people over the world. And it's brought people into my life that I've become friends with, If it wasn't for Davide, I don't know if I would have ever gotten into Dragon Ball Z. Back in 2011, 2012, 2013 maybe, I discovered that on the Kids WB on channel 57 on Saturday mornings, they aired Dragon Ball Z Kai. And that was my first exposure to Dragon Ball. Me and Davide would watch it, of course, in separate houses. But we would watch it together. And, I remember asking him, when I was just starting to watch it, who's this guy? Who's this guy? I remember I texted him, who's the really fat guy? And he said, oh, you mean Yajirobe? And I said, yeah, him. So if it wasn't for Davide, I can't say never, but I don't know if I would have gotten into Dragon Ball Z that early in my life. But, from there, it got me into it. It got Kevin into it. Kevin's favorite character is, I think, Tien. It got Tyler into it. Tyler's favorite character is Broly. I met and became really good friends with my friend Mike, who I graduated high school with. At work, I became really tight, super good friends with my coworker Jay, and we have constant conversations about Dragon Ball, so it's cool. It's cool how one manga anime series brought together so many people throughout the world. And so for that, I can't thank you enough, Akira Toriyama, for your amazing work. So this is going to end my celebration, my celebration of life video for Akira Toriyama. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe you have fond memories of playing some of the games I showed you in my collection. Please let me know down below in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And, you know, even though the person is physically no longer alive in this world, we as fans will keep him alive through conversation, through memories, and continue having him in our lives, here and here. Take care, guys.